Hi students, good evening everyone, and welcome to our discussion of the recall questions from the FMGA exam that was held just on 18th here yesterday itself. So let us look. I am Dr. Sanjeev Chitragar. I am your pathology faculty. So I've done my post-graduation from AIIMS Delhi. I was a senior resident there. Most of you know about this. So let us look at the questions, and I'm extremely happy with the questions that have come here. Most of the questions, around 95% of the questions, you would be easily able to answer from the notes that you have made. And yes, not only from pathology, if you have studied pathology well, you could have even answered many of the other subject questions as well. So let us look at the first question. What does the first question, what we are seeing here? A person is working in a cardboard industry. So this was given, cardboard industry, and he is likely to develop which of the following diseases was given: bicynosis, asbestosis, anthracosis, bagasosis. Answer is cardboard and paper industry. So basically cardboard and paper, or hardboard and paper, or wallboard we call it, and paper, basically they are going to use bagasse. What is this bagasse? Yes, bagasse is the sugar cane का छिलका होता है ना, that is what is called bagasse. Basically जब ये sugar cane mill में जाता है, so once it goes into the sugar cane mill, you जूस को बाहर निकालते हैं, जो बचता है ना वापस, so that is what is called bagasse, and that will be made into paper and other things. So bagasosis occurs in paper. It can occur even working in sugar industry as well, because sugar में जो काम कर रहे हैं, तो they will also be exposed to this bagasse, especially storing, transport of this bagasse that will be there. So let us look at the other things. The bicynosis, asbestosis, anthracosis were given in the option. Just to look at this small table that I've tried to show here, important ones we are showing: coal dust will cause anthracosis and usually seen in coal miner. Asbestos will cause asbestosis, seen in people who are mining, and installation of insulation. There was a question asked on asbestos as well. Come to that. Silica causes silicosis. Silicosis will be seen in sand blasting industry and stone cutting industry. Silicosis. And then bagasse is used, causes bagasosis, cardboard, paper, sugar industry. And then cotton and hemp will cause bicynosis, and commonly seen in textile manufacturing. So these are the important diseases caused by occupational hazards of the respiratory system. So there was one question, I'm not very clear about the options that the student gave me, so I've just tried to keep the options so that I can explain you many things in this. Asbestosis is associated with which of the following malignancies? I'm not very sure about the option, so that's why I want to explain all the options here. Adenocarcinoma of lung, mesothelioma, gastric carcinoma, laryngeal and pharyngeal squamous cell carcinoma. Answer to this question actually in this is all of the above. All of them will be caused. Adenocarcinoma is the most common malignancy arising out of asbestosis. Adenocarcinoma is the most common malignancy arising out of asbestosis. Mesothelioma, asbestos has a very strong association with mesothelioma. That means if patient is having a mesothelioma, definitely we are suspecting an asbestos exposure to him. However, the mesothelioma occurs only around 25 years of latency period. So there is a latency period of 25 to 30 years latency period. That is why it doesn't occur early, and it is not the most common one. Gastric carcinoma also can occur. This is a rare one. Gastric carcinoma can also occur. It's a rare one. And laryngeal and pharyngeal squamous cell carcinoma, this is also rare, and in fact this was first reported in 2013. I'm expecting this option was given in I'm sure there was no adenocarcinoma of lung given in the option. Mesothelioma was also not given. If it was squamous cell carcinoma of lung, that is not the answer. Upper respiratory squamous cell carcinoma can cause upper aerodigestive, that is the larynx, and the pharyngeal squamous cell carcinoma. Apart from that, it can also cause GI adenocarcinoma carcinomas, colorectal cancer also can be caused by asbestos. So I do not know. Some people told me option was, one of them was a laryngeal cancer was given. That will be the correct answer. And some people told only lung malignancy. If it was lung malignancy, I would have still answered it as lung carcinoma only. So I'm expecting the fourth option was given here, somewhere larynx or pharyngeal squamous cell carcinoma, that is caused by asbestos exposure. So asbestos is commonly seen in insulating agents. So commonly people who are working in as insulators, like navy industry, not only building industries, so construction industry, these people will end up insulating many things, so they might get exposed to this. Next question is, yes, so this was a ATP7B mutation is associated with. So four options were given: alpha-1 antitrypsin, hemochromatosis, Wilson's disease, and cystic fibrosis. I'm sure all of you have written this answer as Wilson disease, correct? So that is the correct answer. Wilson disease occurs due to ATP7B mutation, Wilson's disease. Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency is due to deficiency of alpha-1 antitrypsin, which causes emphysema plus there can be cirrhosis happening. Hemochromatosis occurs due to HFE mutation or HJV mutation or TFR2 mutation. So yes, alpha-1 antitrypsin gene is located on chromosome 14. Hemochromatosis, HFE, is located on chromosome 6. HJV is located on chromosome 1. TFR2 is on chromosome 7. By the way, most common mutation for this is the HFE mutation, which usually not presents in childhood. Childhood onset is by the HJV mutation. Hemochromatosis will present with arthritis, then diabetes, bronze diabetes, and also cirrhosis. Wilson's will present with Kayser-Fisher-Ring as well as lenticular and also some problem in the brain as well, and also liver disease, cirrhosis. Cystic fibrosis due to CFTR mutation. In liver, there will be primarily there is cholestasis that is happening, and which can lead to cirrhosis on a later date. Cystic fibrosis as such primarily is not going to manifest with manifestation of liver. It will manifest with deficiencies of pancreatic enzymes, and also will manifest with bronchiectasis. So just to note this point, alpha-1 antitrypsin will present with emphysema, and cystic fibrosis will present with bronchiectasis and liver disease. Cirrhosis can be the manifestation. Bronchiectasis and cirrhosis can be the manifestation. Next question. So there was an image like this, need not be the same image. So this was histological examination of a thyroid tumor is as follows. What are you seeing? So you are very classically saying all these are optically clear nuclei. Optically clear nuclei. What are these called as? Optically clear nuclei, correct, are called as orphan Annie. Yes, correct. These are called orphan Annie eye nuclei. Orphan Annie eye nuclei. It is based on a cartoon whose eyes were looking like this. Orphan Annie eye nuclei. Just remember, this is a fixation artifact. Fixation artifact. When you fix it in formalin, it gives this appearance basically. So fixation artifact seen in papillary carcinoma of thyroid. Apart from this, you can also see samoma bodies. You can see papillae here itself. I can see papillae here. This is your papillae with a vessel in the center. So the red thing, this is your V I am writing. These are all vessels. Fibrovascular core, we call it, in the center. So samoma bodies, all these things are not very important. Most important for diagnosis of papillary carcinoma of thyroid will be orphan Annie eye nuclei. What will medullary carcinoma show? Amyloid deposition. What will follicular carcinoma show? Back-to-back follicle formation. Amyloid deposition anywhere else also will be seen in insulinoma as well. Yes, again, so these all questions, actually whatever we have discussed until now, all of them have been discussed in the class. You have it in the class notes. So this was one of the question. Next, look at this. Histological examination of the lymph node biopsy is as follows. What is a likely diagnosis? I'm sure all of you have got it correct. Yes, that is a correct answer. Yes, correct answer. What is this? These are your macrophages, which is appearing like stars. Macrophages are there, and these are your blue cells. These are the neoplastic cells. So this is your starry sky pattern. Starry sky pattern is seen in Burkitt lymphoma, that was given in the option, Burkitt lymphoma. Even it can be seen in other high grade lymphomas like DLBCL also, and also can be seen in ALL, acute lymphoblastic lymphoma as well. So in class I explained this. If you remember, Burkitt lymphoma or starry sky pattern happens because of rapid proliferation of the cells. When the cells keeps rapidly proliferating, there will be death of the cells. Those dead cell, necrotic cell, has to be phagocytosed by macrophages. That is why you are seeing these macrophages in between, right? So starry sky appearance. Next question. This was, I do not know whether the history was given as a bone tumor, but yes, there was such an image. Some people have confused me. So is it a tuberculosis or is it a what do you call, giant cell tumor? So of course, one thing is you should carefully follow the history. What was given, I did not get. So some people told me it was bone tumor was, or bone lesion was given as a history. So then it will be. So remember, tuberculosis of bone can happen, but it will be in the marrow, not in the cortex commonly if it happens there. So we call it bone marrow tuberculosis can happen. But yes, if it was a bone tumor and you are seeing such giant cells, this is your giant cell tumor, also known as osteoclastoma. Osteoclastoma. Remember, it will have lot of lysis happening. So there will be bony lysis will be there, lytic lesions, a lot of hemorrhage will be seen on gross. It is a very aggressive tumor, but metastasis will be very, very rare to happen. Osteoclastoma, cell of origin is unknown. We can still say it is unknown. It is thought to be arising from the osteoclasts. Okay. So there will be osteoclastic activity without any osteoblastic activity here. So there is no bone formation. That is why you will end up seeing lytic lesions, no bone formation even in gross or on X-ray as well. Next question. So this question, cost-effective method of cervical cancer screening. Many people have written it as pap smear. Remember, pap is a wrong answer. So pap smear is not the correct answer. For the word was cost effective method. Pap smear is going to be very costly method because you require a gynecologist to take a smear. So basically that's the first thing you have to pay for gynecologist. Then a pathologist also has to look at the smear and make a diagnosis. You have to pay for pathologist. You are paying a lot of for expertise here. That is why pap is not the answer. Pap is the best screening technique, but it is not cost effective. In fact, it is the, so look at this, the last line I have written here, pap smear is best screening test, but it is the costliest of all the screening tests available. So that is not. So the best answer, I do not know options now, which options were given. I will tell you two of them are the best cost effective, most cost effective. Self-collected HPV testing. So what is the self-collected HPV testing? This is the most cost effective because there is no involvement of doctor in this at all. There is no involvement of doctor. Community health worker will come and it will be a kit that will be available, and community health worker will end up helping you patients to, or the people to take the sample from the cervix, and you can detect HPV is present or absent. This is the best, or it's the most cost effective. So if this was in the option, most cost effective will be this self-collected HPV testing, self-sampled HPV testing or self-collected HPV testing. If this was given, if this was not there, this definitely was in the option. I know visual inspection with acetic acid or the VIA. This will be done by gynecologist, so he has to you are at least using only one here, not two people. That is why this is also cost effective. But the best test, I do not know whether this was in the option. I know that many people have told me VIA was there in the option. That will be there. It is not pap smear. Remember, not pap smear. Pap smear is not cost effective. Pap smear is costly. Next question, there was a history given. Elderly female and low backache was given. So elderly female, low backache, what is the likely diagnosis? And this was the image also given. I can see definitely eccentric nucleus. I am seeing such eccentric nucleus. These are all plasma cells. Plasma cells. And low backache, usually multiple myeloma, involves your vertebra is the most common. and in vertebra it can lead to lytic lesions which can lead to pathological fractures. That's why the backache, and usually occurs after 50 years of age, after 50 to 60 years of age. So multiple myeloma would be the given, whichever is the correct answer here, multiple myeloma. Next is yes, one more question. Sorry, not the history was not this here. So in this only, what is a likely diagnosis? So this is not history. So there was an image given, and what are you seeing? So I hope all of you are able to see. These are a spoon shaped nails. So the nails, instead of being like this, so they become everted like this, like a spoon shaped nails. So spoon shaped nails, where they can even collect fluid as well. This is called as koilonychia. Koilonychia can be seen in, so what all options? I'm sure one of the most common condition where we see koilonychia is a iron deficiency anemia. Other than that, we can see it in liver diseases. So any liver disease theoretically can cause this, like it can be hemochromatosis, where excess of iron is there, which is causing liver disease. That can also cause koilonychia. Any cirrhosis can cause koilonychia. Then autoimmune diseases also can be causing. Autoimmune diseases can be causing, like SLE can cause this. Few cancers also can cause koilonychia. So these are the important causes of this spoon shaped nails, koilonychia. Next is supravital stains are used for. Supravital stains are used for two things. In one is for reticulocytes, and this was given in the option, and another is to detect Heinz bodies. Heinz bodies as well. Heinz bodies are seen in G6PD deficiency anemia. So it will be seen in G6PD deficiency anemia. So you will use it for identification of reticulocyte and also the Heinz bodies. So commonly used supravital stains are methylene blue, which is very commonly used. Methylene blue. Even there is a brilliant cressyl blue as well. Brilliant cressyl blue as well. That also can be used for. So what are reticulocytes? We all know reticulocytes are immature RBCs, and we end up using the supravital stain. Reticulocytes will appear with blue granules, which will have a nucleic acid. That is what is immaturity in that. In Heinz bodies are oxidized hemoglobin, which will not be stained in routine staining. That is why there will be a bite cell happening. If you do a supravital stain, you can see those Heinz bodies as blue dots. So supravital stains are used there. Now, so in this, I'm not very clear about the history given was there or not, and also HND was given or not. So, some people told me there was some history of cardiac failure that was given. So, some people did not say that it was just an image that was given. So the image, look at this, in the background is the dark. So whenever you are having such dark background, you can suspect what things. Dark background, if you are seeing like this, then either it is a immunofluorescence or it is a polarized light. Polarized microscopy. So some people told me this, there was a history of polarized microscopy given in the image. So if it was polarized microscopy, then this is appearing, this is your apple green birefringence. So what is this apple green birefringence? So apple green birefringence is seen in amyloid because of the beta plated structure of the amyloid. If you use a polarized light, you'll end up seeing this apple green birefringence, which will be accentuated by your Congo red stain. So what is the special stain that we should be using here? Congo red will be the special stain that we'll be using. And on Congo red, on routine HND, it will appear red only, and on polarized microscopy, it will give apple green birefringence. So that is amyloidosis. I think it was a cardiac amyloidosis with a history of some heart failure, chronic heart failure. Usually it can cause a the restrictive cardiomyopathy can be caused by that. So I think there were two questions on this, and there is overlap in the history. So that's why I've taken two of them. So let me see what exactly was it. There were two questions what I got from students, or I do not know whether students are confusing with the same history itself. A patient is having easy fatigue, burning and tingling sensation in the feet was given, and peripheral blood smear was given. So what is this? Look at this. This is your L I am writing, lymphocyte. The RBCs are larger. So these are macroovalocytes that I am seeing. Large RBCs, macroovalocytes. And also this is your hyper segmented neutrophil. If you can look at this, how many lobes are there in this neutrophil? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lobes are there. In fact, in this HSN, hyper segmented neutrophil is a diagnostic of megaloblastic. Hyper segmented neutrophils is more than 5 lobes, or we say 6 lobes or more, or if there are 5 lobes, so even in one neutrophil also, if more than 5 lobes are there, or 5 lobes in 5% of the neutrophils. That is what is hypersegmented neutrophil. Hypersegmented neutrophil indicates there is a shift to right happening in the bone marrow. There is a delayed maturation. That is why nuclear segmentation is more happening, and that is the reason why you are getting a hypersegmented neutrophil. So hypersegmented neutrophil is characteristic of megaloblastic anemia. Megaloblastic anemia could be occurring because of B12 deficiency or could be because of a folic acid deficiency. In this case, because there is a burning and tingling sensation, neurological involvement, answer will be B12 deficiency. So if you remember in the neurons, so this will lead to, actually there is a adenosylcobalamin and a cyanocobalamin, B12. So cyanocobalamin is required for conversion of your folate. Adenosylcobalamin is required for your neurological maintenance, and that is what is neurological manifestations are happening in B12 deficiency. If it was folic acid deficiency, there would have been no neurological manifestation. Peripheral blood smear would have been very similar. Now, so important just to note here, if it was a folic acid deficiency, I think there was one more question asked based on this. So let us look at this. This is the patient with peripheral blood smear, and this was given normal methyl malanoic acid. So very important is, if methyl malanoic acid is normal, this rules out almost B12 deficiency for us. And that is why I would say folate deficiency. And very important, microscopy will be very similar. Treatment will always be, whenever there is a folate deficiency, you have to give both B12 as well as folate. Why? Because if you only give folic acid, then these patients, although initially they do not have neurological manifestation, but because of you have given only folate, then all the B12 you will be used only for erythropoiesis. Thus there is no B12 available for the neuron maintenance, and that is why neurological manifestation will get aggravated if you are giving only folate. Next, so I'm not very clear about, many students told me such an image was given, and history, I did not get much history, but many people told me, so this was one of the image wherein there was no central pallor in the, no central pallor was there in the RBC. No central pallor in the RBC. All these are spherocytes. All these are spherocytes. So DDs for a peripheral blood spherocyte could be hereditary spherocytosis. I am writing short form as HS. Then it could even be occurring in autoimmune hemolytic anemias because of partial phagocytosis happening in the spleen. It could also be because of G6PD deficiency anemia. So what was the given question? I do not know exactly, because I told there was spherocytes were seen without central pallor. This was one of the image in exam. One more, this I am not very clear, was this as a question? I have just included it as a last question here. So bone marrow aspirate, and this was the image that was given. So many people are not very clear what was it exactly, but let me just look at this. If it was a bone marrow aspirate in a child and they had given a child history, I'm suspecting most likely leukemia here. And look at this. What are these? These are large cells. I can see they are large cells. So large cells means they will be definitely blasts that you are seeing. And these are having very scant cytoplasm and also agranular cytoplasm. So they are having agranular cytoplasm. So which suggests me these are lymphoblasts. So if it was, then it is a lymphoblast that I am talking about here. So then the diagnosis would be a ALL if it was this image. If it was a myeloid, then what? Child should not be a history. Second, because myeloid leukemias are more common in adults rather than in children, and there should have been granules seen in the blast in that case. So if there were granules or such rod shaped structures, what are those? Or rod should have been seen. Sorry. So these were questions from the pathology section in your exam. Most of these questions we have already discussed. Spherocytes, ALL we have discussed, hypersegmented neutrophil, both B12 and this one amyloidosis we have discussed, and reticulocyte, supravital, koilonychia, plasma cell, everything has been discussed. Pap smear, then giant cell tumor, then Burkitt lymphoma, papillary carcinoma of thyroid, and even your the Wilson disease was also discussed. So everything was asbestos. Everything has come from, all the questions have come from. Only one thing probably which I had not discussed in the class was, will asbestos, what were the options that were given? So, I was just, most common will be, I do not know still the options which was there. So very rarely it can cause laryngeal and pharyngeal squamous cell carcinomas as well. So these were questions from pathology section. I hope all of you are getting the correct answers here, and yes, keep following us on our page as well as, so we have lots of courses for you guys, and I hope all of you have got through this exam and start writing well, and try to get a PG seat. That is what will be your next aim or next target for you guys, and best wishes all of you.